You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're with Gowri here on our Durian Heat. And today, of course, we have three speakers who will be talking about sustainability, as I mentioned earlier. And this is part of the KL Ecofilm Festival that will be happening soon in October. And it's also part of the Green Market that is part of the event. And we are going to talk about why sustainability is so important these days. And with me, I have Faisal from Tanamera.
Hi.
I have Ling from Cherrybomb.
Hello.
As well as Shahnaz, who is back from PopTani Asia.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. So maybe Faisal, each of you actually, if you can give a brief description to your company and what are you doing in it, starting with Faisal.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Well, basically, Tanamera Tropical Spa focus on doing natural, tropical-based personal care products.
Mm-hmm.
So our product is actually based on the Malay art of wellness.
Okay.
And we are a Malaysian company, and we are exporting to about 15 countries and slowly growing.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very brief
Right.
description.
What about Ling?
Hi. So we're Cherrybomb, and we're a sustainable fashion company that's based right here in Kuala Lumpur. What we do is we source for sustainable materials and surplus fabrics that would have gone to landfills, and we create clothing out of them.
Okay. Right. And Shahnaz, just a bit of refresh.
All
I know
right.
you explained
PopTani Asia. What we do is we help turn people's houses into farms, into gardens. And the method that we use is aquaponics. And we provide kits for indoor, kits for balcony sized, and also for the whole garden, and also for customized landscaping that you want to do at home that has got aquaponics involved into it.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it takes less than 2 minutes every day to maintain it.
Yeah. Actually, yes, it does take 2 minutes. Feed the fish, talk to them a little bit,
Okay.
massage the plants, yeah.
Maybe you can also tell us how is PopTani Asia doing its part in promoting green consumption and production in Malaysia.
Okay. Actually, this kind of questions, you can have a lot more information coming from a company like Tanamera, which has been around for a very long time. PopTani Asia started off in January 2015. So the little that we are doing right now is that we have a very minimalistic concept to what we do.
Okay.
In our packaging, like instead of having our box be printed on all sides, I decided to just take a simple cardboard box and use stamping because that's cheaper and that's more sustainable. So I don't have to and also a simple thing that we do right now is that we don't carry a lot of stock.
Right.
Because we want to go by batch production because number one is better for us in terms of capital and expenditure, but it is also good because I don't like wastage.
Okay.
So I'll order maybe for my indoor units, every time a batch comes in is about 200 units. It's handmade. And I try and source it in such a way that everything is localized rather than have to be shipped from all over the world. So these are the little things that I'm doing.
And it's also like a symbiosis process.
Of course, the product, the aquaponics, the method of aquaponics is also a very sustainable method because the water is not thrown away, but the water is recycled. And also all the wastage that you see in having a fish is actually being used again to fertilize the plants.
Exactly.
So the whole system is organic. The plants love it because they constantly get the fish poop supplied to them, and the fish loves it because the plants also gives a lot of nourishments to the fish.
So it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win
there.
situation, yeah.
So going on to Faisal,
Yes.
tell us about how Tanamera is promoting green production and consumption.
Well, actually, the whole idea of Tanamera, we always from start been focused on the three tenets, which is one is human friendly. You have to be safe.
Right.
You have to be animal friendly. We only tested on nephew and nieces and directors. This is true. This is exactly what what we've been doing all this while. Because if
Right.
we are not going to use it ourselves,
True.
we have no right to sell it out. You know,
Uh-huh.
we believe in that philosophy.
Right.
That's such a brilliant philosophy.
Yeah. And the third, of course, is eco-friendly, which
Right.
is your question. And we do our part in many ways. And we really believe in it. Like, for example, all the papers that we use are fully recycled, non-bleach paper. Because bleach is one of the major cause of what they call it, contamination when it comes to the paper industry. Everybody want it to be white. Our papers are all brown. And then we remove this whole concept that every bottles have to have a box.
Right.
And people ask, I say, oh, why don't you have that? Because it look nicer. I said, and I will ask exactly the same question and say, after all these years of buying product that have box,
Yeah.
what do you do with the box? No matter how beautiful is it, do you keep it?
Absolutely.
They said no, we throw it away. So that what is
Right.
the point? And also it cut down on the cost. And the type of plastic that we use have to be dioxin free, fully recyclable. We use PETG. We use glasses as much as possible. And that is only on the external side. On the internal side and the manufacturing side, we are almost a zero waste company.
Okay.
Like what PopTani is doing, we do small batches
Okay.
by order. Because we are completely natural product, and not to mention all our products are completely biodegradable, all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, even from the body wash to the soap to the shampoo, it is completely biodegradable. That is the little thing that we
Right. And how do you actually promote this concept? I mean, it must be new to a lot of people, and like you said, you get a lot of questions like why are there no boxes and all. So maybe a bit more on that, and what kind of questions that people usually ask you about these things.
Well, people ask sometimes the most simplest question.
Online radio.
Yeah, you know. But one
You
thing
can-
we realized, I
Yeah.
think it was harder when we started. People don't understand. Like, for example, when we come out with the brown paper concept, we were the first in the country.
Okay.
Now people are actually following. If you notice, it's becoming more popular. We get questions like, "Hey, apakah? What does it look like? Nasi lemak? What does it look like? Belacan packaging?" You know, we
Right.
get that type, and we have to explain. And I think because of the internet and all that, it's so much easier to actually explain to people. And sometimes we simplify things. Like I give example. I told people that our body wash, our liquid body wash is completely biodegradable.
Right.
And I give them an example. I said you all have shower.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a shower room. And you notice that after a while you have to remove that slime from the floor, the really disgusting slime. You have to scrub it out.
Yeah.
That is because it's sodium lauryl sulfate, and
Right.
sodium lauryl sulfate does not break.
Okay.
Okay, so but if you use Tanamera product, you don't have to clean so often because when you shower, it will break.
Okay.
Yeah, so simple things like that. Or another example is that people say, you know, your soap sometimes is light brown, sometimes it's dark brown. So we turn it around, and instead of it is a weakness in
Yeah.
a way from the manufacturing perspective,
Okay.
we turn it around and say, you know, because it's natural.
Yeah.
When you work with natural product, there's no perfection, there's no standard. So you have to accept that. So we teach people use our weakness and turn it into a strength. That's how we do. People remember that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Cherrybomb, is an entirely different element altogether. We're talking about fashion here, and of course your tagline, as I saw, was promoting sustainability through fashion. So maybe if you can elaborate a bit more about that.
Well, a lot of people, they actually don't know that fashion is the second most polluting industry in the world. So all
What's
this
first?
oil,
What's for
Oil.
yes.
Oil?
So all these chemicals that go into your clothes, a lot
Yeah.
of people, they don't see the process. It's
Of
actually
course.
a long process from textile
Bleach,
manufacturing.
bleach.
Yes, the bleach and the dyes, and they're probably not as good for your skin as a natural, let's say, cotton, organic cotton would be. So what we're trying to do is promote sustainability, because right now our environmental resources are being used at an unsustainable rate, and fast fashion, they just keep producing and people just throw it away because that's
Right.
what we've been taught, you know, from a consumer
Yeah.
perspective,
I
and
think
they
we
don't
can-
know that it's not okay.
Yeah. I think you can blame Heidi Klum for that, because she always says in fashion one day you're in and the next day you're out. So you tend to throw away whatever that's not in anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And how many pieces of clothes do you actually buy and you put in your closet and you don't even touch them for real long? And then when you look at them, you're like, I don't wear this, and you throw them out. Do you even know where they go, where they come from? And all these chemicals that are used in the dyeing process, people, it actually harms their health. So it's not just the environment that's being harmed. All these villages that produce maybe cotton, and in chemical factories as well. So I think it's not just a small scale thing. It's a very large scale. It affects everything from the ecosystem, and indirectly it affects the animals and the planet as well. So every living being on Earth, I think, it's affected by it.
But how does Cherrybomb tackle this? How exactly do you make your fashion sustainable?
Our first collection right now, we started really small, first of all, budget constraints, and also we want to limit our production in such a way that it's sustainable, so that we don't have waste, so we don't have to throw out old stocks and stuff. And we package all our stuff using recyclable materials, our papers, our boxes, and in all these purchases that customers buy, we insert like a little card saying, we give them little steps on what they can take to, save the environment.
And do you use recycled material for your clothings?
Yes, we do. Our first collection is used from surplus materials. These materials would have gone to landfills that would pollute our water, and otherwise they're burned and, greenhouse gases.
And it's interesting that all three of you mentioned the same thing about reducing wastage, that you make it in batches and you try to control the production, and that's one way to ensure that nothing goes to waste, and also become more environment friendly that way. My next question would be how difficult it is to actually make something that is eco-friendly or sustainable, because I think it tends to involve more work, more research, and definitely a lot of challenges involved as well, especially in terms of cost. Usually the perception is that organic products tend to be more expensive, and also maybe Shahnaz want to share first?
Yeah, it's pretty challenging actually. Challenging because I think for me the main reason for it is because of our mindset and awareness, of course, and also because of this, some manufacturers take advantage of it, because the moment you want to go eco, then that means I can charge you more, so that doesn't necessarily happen that way, because sometimes eco is actually a lot cheaper, but people take advantage of the situation, and also the good news is that it's challenging, but it's not an impossible task, because every day I do see the awareness becoming stronger and stronger amongst Malaysians. Right now, with this whole idea of by the 1st of September, recently we started having our trash separated into categories. I think that is one huge leap for Malaysia. So therefore, the education is becoming more and more abundant in the sense for the consumers. So challenging, but I think it's the perfect timing right now to be involved in any kind of a sustainable or an eco-friendly kind of organization.
Maybe Faisal can tell us a bit more on the production side as well. Does it actually cost you more to make these products, and how do you make sure that it's still accessible to everybody?
Yes and no. It depends on the product itself. Like for example, if we are talking about a modern kind of product, a good example would be a body wash or shampoo. It definitely would cost much more comparative to say a generic formulation using sodium lauryl sulfate or parabens, preservative and all that, because we would use I'll give you a good example. A normal product would use at least about 4 or 5 type of parabens, and it will cost maybe about 20 ringgit, and you might use 0.01%. My preservative is such a natural preservative. It's a combination of essential oils and herbal extract and all that. Costs about 1,000 ringgit per kilo, and I have to use nearly about 1.5%.
Okay.
Just that itself, you can see the huge difference in pricing. But it can be cheaper in a way, because like Ling was talking about fast fashion, we also have a lot of fast personal care or fast cosmetic. A good example is that it's a body scrub. A lot of those body scrub come in a sort of like a gel form where you just scoop it up and apply it on your body and all that.
Yeah.
So we have introduced the concept of slow beauty or slow personal care, where we sell it in powder form.
Okay.
And then you have to do your own mixing with water and any type of drop of essential oil that you want, because it's supposed to be a luxury, and all that. And some people say, oh, it's a bit inconvenient. I say, yes, it is. So we explain to them. But for it to be in that kind of gel form, you have to use so much chemical, so much stabilizers, so much preservative, so much coloring, so much perfume for it to maintain it. Look. And you are putting it on your skin, and your skin absorbs everything that you put on. I said, think about that. And you wonder why there are so many cancer cases nowadays. So, and when we turn that into that kind of perspective, then people will always take a few steps back and realize that, oh man, I said, I've been doing it not the right way.
Yeah.
So we justify there's a reason. Everything that we do, there are reasons for it. So that's what I mean by yes and no. So if it's in powder form, technically it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Comparative to gel form product and all that.
Okay. And what about Cherrybomb? I noticed that all your prices are in US dollars as well. Does that have anything to do with the fact that the production is more expensive, or?
Well, because our customers, we do get customers from US, and
is it because the market for sustainable fashion is bigger in the US?
I would definitely say so, because there are clothing brands that are going sustainable, and they're getting really big support from the local people and even celebrities. They're endorsing them. But in Malaysia, I think we still have a different mindset. We're not really educated on the fact of sustainability yet, but I think it's slowly hitting there.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you're doing to maybe promote that among the Malaysian market, sustainable fashion?
Our blog, we write a lot about. We're trying to write a lot about sustainability on a blog, and like I said, I send out little cards to all our customers so that they realize the effects of buying something, because right now we don't think about it when we buy, and I think it's really important to question where things come from.
Okay. And
we have events and stuff, and during our events we talk to people about sustainability, and then they start to think, and they go like, oh, and I think it's a good thing when people start thinking.
Just like what Faisal said about the body scrub, because I feel like throwing mine away now.
Oh, you'll be surprised the amount of chemical that you introduce to your body every day. It's scary. It's shocking. And I remember when I was, because I give talks, and I always ask the same question every time I open a talk, because people tend to invite me to talk about the danger of chemicals.
Right.
And I have this topic that I like called dangerous beauty. Okay. And I asked the question, I said, how many people in the audience knows people that have cancer? A very simple question. And almost, I would say 90% will put up their hand.
Okay.
I said, when I was much younger, many years ago, to hear of somebody having cancer is like, wow, oh my God, that person have cancer.
It's quite rare, huh?
It's so rare. But now I say, oh, your auntie just been diagnosed with cancer. I say, oh God, you just, it's still the number one killer in the world.
Yeah.
Cancer and high blood pressure. It is scary. And with all the technology, all the modernity, and all the thing that we have, why is this happening? So something is not right. Something is not. It doesn't gel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what got us thinking.
Okay.
And when you start putting what you consume, which is food, into the equation, it becomes a lot worse.
Right.
I mean, those are chemicals put on your body scrubs. Can you imagine the kind of chemicals put on your food?
Right.
to make it look nice on the shelf all the time.
Mm.
Can you imagine the amount of chemicals that they put on the apples?
Even statistically, they said that about 60% of fruits produced in the world
Yeah.
are thrown away
Oh.
because it is not perfectly shaped.
Yep.
Hmm. Interesting.
60%. So there are no food shortage issue. There shouldn't be any hunger issue in the world.
Mm.
Amount of waste in the American diet, in the American superstore and all the stuff is enough to feed the world's poor
Okay.
and hungry.
So
Yeah.
it's
Just because it doesn't look good on the shelf.
mhm.
Can you imagine that?
Interesting.
And can you imagine we have balconies, we have a backyard. Some of us have a porch, and instead we have this land that we are not utilizing. Yet we go out to the market, buy, half a kilo or 200 grams or 300 grams of kangkong, which was probably transported to you from a farm somewhere that is about 300 kilometers away.
And filled with spray.
And let's not
Right.
even talk about that. 300 kilometers coming to you, and you had to go somewhere and buy it
Mhm.
when you have land that you could have utilized.
So I think we'll take a quick
Yeah,
break.
sure.
When we come back, I'll let Shahnaz talk more about sustainability in terms of food consumption.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're still with Gowri, and I'm here with Faisal from Tanamera. I have Ling from Cherrybomb and also Shahnaz from PopTani Asia. So earlier we talked a lot about sustainable fashion and also about body and beauty products, and I think Shahnaz is dying to share some insights with us about sustainable food consumption, and maybe you can explain more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we have this inspiration came when I read this book.
Yeah.
And the book was called Abundance. The future is better than you think it is.
Mhm.
And what was written in this book, part of it was to speak a little bit about the way we consume food and the way food is brought to us. And in this book, what it said was that if every single apartment owner in New York were to convert their balcony into a farm, New York will not have any more food problem,
Right.
and food price will drop tremendously because now people are not just buying, they are also supplying.
Mhm.
So having that thought in my mind, I was taking a look at, hey, you know what? In Malaysia right now, it is so easy for us to buy stuff.
Mhm.
It's so easy for us to buy food. I think to a point where the whole notion of kids nowadays may have never seen a real live chicken or may
That's
have
true.
never seen fish
Mm.
apart from in a polystyrene packet is very real now.
Okay, and that goes back to Faisal's point as well when he
Mhm.
mentioned about the food shortage that's
Yep.
been happening.
Yep.
And speaking of that, how is it? I mean, there's so much chemicals involved, like you were telling us earlier in the transportation, and I think recently also a lot of people complained that they didn't actually know that there were wax layers on apples that we consume. And I think he also mentioned earlier that considering the skin product itself absorbs everything you put on it, and this you're talking about food, things
Yep.
that go directly
Yep.
into your system.
Yep.
And are people aware about these things?
I mean, well, the awareness level is increasing. That's good news.
Yeah.
You can take a look at right now almost every single grocery shop or Tesco and Giant and Village Grocers and so on. More and more of these kind of stores are already having an organic section.
Right.
Now, I mean, that is a good alternative, but actually the best alternative is to take a look at how you can plant it yourself.
Okay.
The more you can do that, I think the more organic it becomes, and then the more you can, take a look at, the growth process of things,
Okay.
you know.
Right.
Being involved in the growth process of things is what we are supposed to be involved with, you know.
And that's
Because
what
human beings are constantly
PopTani
moving.
is about as well.
Yeah, I mean, we want to take a look at starting from small, you know, starting from from the smallest kid to the biggest garden. Just get yourself involved in the whole process of growing stuff. And I think, you know, psychologically it also helps grow that person too.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we also have Yvonne, who has just joined us from Cherrybomb as well. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi.
So maybe you can tell us more about sustainable fashion. Your colleague has also explained about it earlier, but maybe a bit more on the future of sustainable fashion. And is it something that is growing in Malaysia? And what are you guys doing about it?
Yeah, so sustainable fashion now is very popular, especially in Europe and the United States, because a lot of companies are actually changing their business models to be adopting this trend. I would say it's a trend because it's well, a lot of companies realize how potentially hazardous their manufacturing is to the environment. So a lot of them have to issue that address. So in Malaysia, we don't really have a lot of big fashion companies that are actually, I would say, directly addressing this issue as well, because there's no, authority to do it. But as a consumer, we have to be able to know the effects of it and what we can help to achieve, in the long run, to achieve sustainability. So definitely a growing market in Asia, especially in Hong Kong, Japan, where market is more mature there. Yeah, people there are more educated on green fashion and sustainability.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think Malaysians are ready for something like this?
Yeah, definitely. We have to be ready. That's for sure. But it is slow. But a lot of initiatives are taken to aware people about green fashion. So, for example, H&M. So they are doing a lot of campaigns and stuff that can help, educate people about sustainable fashion.
Yeah, I think H&M is also having this segment where you're encouraged to donate used clothes and then you get like a discount as well.
Yeah, so that is one of their green initiatives. And companies such as Adidas and Nike also use a lot of green materials in producing their clothes and fabric. Yeah.
And going back to Faisal, I want to ask you, well, like Yvonne mentioned, there aren't exactly any fashion companies directly involved in green fashion. But speaking of body and beauty products, are there other entrepreneurs or businesses that is directly involved? I mean, there is Body Shop, and they are quite well. Okay, well, they try to promote themselves as being organic and environmental friendly. But are there any other businesses that are directly involved in sustainable products?
Well, in the first place, the terminology of natural and organic have been abused.
Okay. Please clarify for our
I'm
listeners.
not going to mention brand names, or I might get sued and all
Just
that.
the differences between the terms.
Okay. There are differentiation in, like for example, organic, right? People were talking about organic and all that.
Yeah.
There's no point of making organic claim if you're not organic certified. Because everybody can make organic. I remember once I attended an exhibition, and I overheard a fellow Malaysian exhibitor was saying, this lady was talking to the visitor to her booth, and this tall Matsali guy was asking, are your product natural?
Yeah.
And then this woman said, yes, it's all natural, all natural. And then see, you got this herb, that herb, and all that. Then this Matsali guy was asking and say, but you use sodium lauryl sulfate and parabens. And she said, yeah, it's all natural, it's all natural. See, the point is that a lot of people do not understand what it means to be natural. If you have a product and you brand the product Organica, it doesn't make the product natural.
Right.
If you have a product and then you actually add one drop of perfume, one drop of essential oil, and one drop of herbal extract it doesn't make the product natural. Consumers have to be vigilant all the time, and and the only way to go through this, to understand this, actually, they have to be label readers. It is so important for you to not look at the front but look at the back. And that's what we teach people when it comes to when we give talks. Is that, of course, we want to sell Tanamera. I mean, we are in business after all. But we tell them, you have to know, you have to take responsibility. You have to read, to be able to read the label. And things are on the net nowadays. Just the term SLS, people know what SLS, they heard of SLS, but they have no idea what it is. Or to make life easy, just download the Tanamera apps on iPhone that actually can help you to list the type of dangerous chemical. Yes.
Nice.
We've developed the app. We haven't really been promoting it. We're not very good at promoting things on social networks. So that would help. Like, for example, if you see sodium lauryl sulfate, what is the danger of sodium lauryl sulfate? What is the danger of parabens? What is the danger of PEG? And another thing that is so common, even in your perfume, is this ingredient called formalin. Formalin is so commonly used in clothing also, because most of it are organic material like cotton and all that. And you might not have heard of formalin, but I can tell you what is the other name for it. It's called formaldehyde.
Okay.
And you heard of formaldehyde. It is so toxic. It is even used in those spray for ironing, the starch spray. They use formaldehyde in it.
Okay.
And this is something that you put on your body.
Yeah. And I think that's a very interesting point you brought up there, because anyone can just come up with something and say that this is organic. Even when it comes to food, I think it's so easy to just have an organic section and put whatever it is there. But it goes back to the consumers themselves, like you said, to be label readers and to be aware of what exactly is involved in the process. So we're almost at the end of our segment. And before we wrap things up, I would like to ask each of you about the future of sustainable consumption and production in Malaysia, or even in Southeast Asia, maybe with Shahnaz first.
Future looks good. The awareness level is increasing day by day. That's good. I think the influence of social media and also the influence of Google has made this world very, very small in terms of education and knowledge.
Right.
We are very aware of what's happening on the other side of the world too, as much as they are aware of whatever that's happening here. So collectively, the awareness level is increasing, and I think, and looking at the increase of the number of sustainable entrepreneurs coming up, it's almost every day, and people like Magic and all the venture capitalists around this country that is also supporting the growth of all these small little businesses that ensures one thing which I like, and that is to have consumption be domestic.
Okay.
So that you buy local.
Keep it local.
Keep it local.
Okay.
The more we keep it local, the more economy is going to increase. The economy is going to increase for us, and also we are actually promoting this kind of companies to grow more and more.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll also be conducting a workshop as well.
Yes.
With Clef. You want to tell us about that?
Well, the workshop is going to be introducing aquaponics into people's homes, and what we're going to do is we're going to share with people what are the easiest, what are the simple stuff that you can do to create an aquaponics kit. You don't have to buy it from us all the time. We're just making life easy for people to start.
Yeah.
But there's so many containers and there's so many things at home that you can actually turn into an aquaponics kit already, and that's what we want to share with people on that.
And what about Faisal? How's the future looking for organic beauty products?
It's to me, the way I look at it, it is a foregone conclusion. People are becoming more aware.
Right.
That's why when sometimes we organize talk, it's so many questions. And of course, the main question is, can I use this brand? I can use that brand. And and I try not to diss other people's brand. But I would try to focus a lot more on the ingredients. Check out these ingredients. Why is this ingredients good for you? Why is this ingredient bad for you? So but people are moving. People are moving to even the big brands, the big boys are removing things like mineral oil away from their formulation. Paraben is slowly dying off. Of course, it's still used in, I would say, about 99%.
Okay.
But the numbers are growing, you know.
Right.
So, and I think, like, I agree that in the end, people have to start learning, take charge of their own life, whether it's from clothing. And there are chemicals everywhere. Like I was mentioning just now, the use of formaldehyde. Who would have thought that formaldehyde is used in clothing?
Exactly.
Okay, that is a dangerous chemical. You know, so, but there are talks everywhere, even during the KL Eco Film Festival. Tanamera is going to give a talk on aromatherapy, on the use of essential oils, you know, so, and you can do a lot of things yourself. Even I literally practice what I preach, because when I found out that they use formaldehyde in the spray starch, I love my shirt starch. I'm very old school.
Okay.
So, and then when I found out about that, I completely threw it out.
Okay.
And I make my own starch. It's so easy. It's just water. For every half a liter of water, you use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch.
Okay.
Use Arm & Hammer, which is the finest cornstarch in the market.
Right.
And then a few drops of lavender oil. And you have to shake before you spray, but it's such a small thing to do. And it costs not even, I calculated, it costs less than 3% or what I've paid before for the cornstarch, for the spray. 3% to maximum 5%, and I use 100% natural ingredient. I can drink it, you know. So you save money, you know. But and I have nicely starched shirt at the same time. You know.
When PopTani grows up, PopTani wants to be like Tanamera.
Oh.
Thank you. I still want that T-shirt though.
So moving on to Yvonne to wrap things up for us. Tell us about the future of sustainable fashion industry in Malaysia.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what Tanamera and PopTani has to say, that our market is slowly heading that direction. So yeah, it will only be growing. And for sustainable fashion in Malaysia, a lot of designers are picking up sustainable practices in their company. So we think that it's only good because it will help to create more awareness throughout the consumers, and yeah, we hope to be part of it.
Okay, part of that effort in promoting green consumption and
yeah.
production. So that'll be all. Thank you so much, all you guys, for joining me this morning and enlightening us about sustainable production and consumption and how to be more green.